Welcome to She Rebel Radio, the podcast for high-performing women leaders who want to unlearn conventional rules, leave prestigious careers, and launch businesses of significance. Each week, She Rebel Radio brings you insights and advice from women entrepreneurs who transformed their prestige prisons into daring entrepreneurial success stories. Now, here is your host, Lulu Nins.
Welcome to episode 15 of She Rebel Radio with Gayle Berry, the owner and founder of Blossom & Berry, an international training school who provide and teach the impact of positive touch, communication and love through baby massage and yoga. Gayle is an international lecturer and expert on baby yoga and massage, and today we talk about how touch and connection created an international business and movement all over the world. Welcome, Gayle. How are you doing today?
Really good, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
I love your business and you've got such an inspirational story as well, so it's an honour to have you, and I'm really looking forward to diving into how you created your business. So I would love to start if you could tell me, and importantly tell our listeners, why we all have 1001 days to save the world. I think that's such a powerful statement.
So the first 1001 days of life, they're often referred to as the first critical days, the 1001 critical days. This is the time from conception to the age of 2, when basically what's happening to us as all humans, because obviously we all come into the earth from our mother's womb. So the environment that we experience literally from conception to the age of 2 shapes who we are. It shapes our brain development, it shapes our emotional intelligence, it actually shapes our educational outcomes, our health, wealth and happiness outcomes. So what we do in that first 1001 days during pregnancy to the age of 2 is absolutely vital to enable all children to reach their full potential in life. And that's why I'm so passionate about this particular time, because obviously any time in your life you can change direction, you can work on your mindset, you can improve things like your emotional intelligence. But if we get it right the first time in this first 1001 days, then it just makes life a lot easier for everybody.
Yeah, it takes much less work later on in trying to change something that becomes quite entrenched, because I think they say in our late 30s to early 40s that 98% of what we do is totally subconscious. And I love what you said about right from conception, from that moment of conception, that's when it starts.
Yeah, and I think that's what some people aren't aware of, because there's a lot of focus on babies' development from birth. But actually, there's been many studies that show that babies are affected by the emotional experiences that their mother has during pregnancy. So there's a recent study that said that mothers who had experienced stress during pregnancy had babies who, over a long-term study, actually showed more signs of having depression, anxiety and other mental health issues. So even before your baby is born, your baby's genetic makeup is being influenced by the environment within the womb, and obviously that environment is influenced by your health and well-being as a mother. So that's why at Blossom & Berry we talk a lot about love creates love, in that when you look after yourself and love yourself and nurture yourself through pregnancy and through motherhood, you're in essence loving and nurturing your baby, because you are the mothership, really. So whatever you're doing directly affects your child.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next generation coming through. So that's incredible. We met at quite a small networking, it was a workshop actually, event in London, and we connected over our backgrounds as lawyers and leaving those prestigious positions and starting businesses that were of more significance. So how did that journey start for you?
Well, I worked in the city as a project finance lawyer straight out of university. I felt very inauthentic as a lawyer because I had a very, very good memory when I was younger. So I had a photographic memory. So I managed to get my law degree more through what I could remember rather than application. So when I turned up in the city to actually practice what I had been taught, I found it quite difficult. And although a lot of people believed in me and I was progressing through the firm and getting great opportunities, I felt hugely inauthentic, to the point that I actually developed a blushing complex. If anyone would ask me a question, I would automatically go bright red because I felt so inauthentic in what I was doing. And the passion wasn't there. And, I was just kind of going through the motions. So I found myself unexpectedly pregnant with my daughter when I was 26. It was a happy accident, and I took that opportunity really to reevaluate my life, knowing from that point that I've got a little person here watching me. So unless I start living my truth and stepping into my power and doing something that I'm going to be proud of and that will inspire her, I'm not going to be a good role model for her. So it was really my daughter gifted me this opportunity to reevaluate my life, and then I became an entrepreneur, and the rest is kind of where I am up to now, really.
Yeah, I love that. So motherhood being that real shift for you, and going to your career as a lawyer, which couldn't be more different, really. When did you realise? Did you always feel inauthentic, or did it kind of dawn on you as you moved away from it?
I think I didn't really have the passion for law when I was at university. I did that classic kind of, good girl thing where I did well at school, and then my parents encouraged me, my teachers encouraged me. Before I knew it, I was doing a law degree. Like I said, I was lucky. I had, I've always been really good at exams, so I managed to kind of get my way through that. And then I sort of ended up at 26 going, how did I get here? And this isn't really aligned with me. It's not resonating with me. And then that started to manifest itself with, not really wanting to engage at work. And, life was pretty grey, to be honest.
Yeah, I describe it as quite grey, finding myself in that position and not being the kind of multicoloured, multifaceted person I was. And it sounds like you felt the same with that.
Yeah.
And the curse of competence of exams, just because you're good at exams, definitely resonates.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a sign that you're good at exams. It's not really a sign of how good you are as a lawyer, or even how clever or intellectual you are. That's just that I'm good at studying exams. And life is about doing, isn't it? It's about experience. So once I started to do that, once I started to have experience in law, I realised it just didn't light me up.
So how did you move from motherhood, discovering more about yourself, to Blossom and Berry? When was that born?
Basically, I was on maternity leave. Emily, my daughter, was a really colicky baby. She was quite unsettled, and I literally was clueless. I'd never held a baby before in my life until I was given my daughter after birth. So that's how green I was. So she was very unsettled, and a friend just said, why don't you go to a baby massage class and see if it helps? So I went. I had a real 360 moment when I realised that all that Emily needed was me, and that I was perfectly imperfect as a mother, and I actually knew all the answers to what I should be doing. I just needed to trust and tune into myself and be confident in my own ability. And as soon as I dropped out of that head space into my heart space, and I also dismissed any of these ideas around don't spoil babies, don't cuddle babies, don't touch babies, I realized actually how powerful touch, connection, eye contact, being present is. It's in any relationship, those things are the things that connect us, and when we have connection, ultimately we feel happy, we feel validated, we have our needs met. And so in that moment I was like, wow, this is so powerful, and it made me feel so good that I kind of vowed that I wanted all new mothers to feel like this and at least have the space to discover this for themselves, which is when I started to train as an infant massage instructor and then run local classes for mums in my area.
Amazing. And you said there of this trust piece and dropping out of your head into your heart space.
Yeah. But that was a huge thing for me, and that's what I would say so much. With our kind of, Blossom and Berry doesn't give out advice at all. We try to just support parents in their own choices. But what I would say is that we spend a lot of time in our headspace. When you drop into the heart, you realise that you are enough. As a parent, you don't need to buy things, read things, do things. It's enough to just be present and connected and just to love. That's it. That's all you need to do.
The most important part. And how is that trust part as well? And you know, for lawyers, it's very difficult to come out of the headspace into the heart space, and that was definitely a massive journey for me. How has that helped you drive the business from that space as well?
Well, I mean, you know, I had no experience of being an entrepreneur, no business experience. I had no money. I had no time because I had 3 children in 3.5 years. So I had 3 children under the age of 3.5. So I knew absolutely nothing. But the one thing I did know was, like I said, my children were watching me, and I wanted all parents to have this positive experience. I knew that if children receive love, that they're going to grow and develop to reach their highest potential. And I also knew that in order to do that, parents need to be loved and celebrated and nurtured, which I feel is lacking in the way that we have our lives in Western society anyway. So that vision of creating connected and loving relationships between parents and babies around the world was enough for me to believe in myself and trust that I could do it, because it's just stepping out of your comfort zone, isn't it? And trusting that, you know, as long as you're doing the best you can do, that's all you can ever do.
Yeah, totally. And as you said, you had no time, you had no money, but you had a really strong vision, and you really flipped around. So often parents are, you know, having eyes on their children, but you're like, actually, they're watching me and what I'm going to do here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, trust is something that runs through all relationships, but particularly parent baby, you know, trust is everything really. And just knowing that, you know, that you can, it's enough, and you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Blossom and Berry, you've won numerous awards and spread the message of love all over the world, from Australia and Mexico, United States of Emirates, Italy. What's been your biggest highlight to date? I'm sure there's been many, but what are your biggest 1 or 2 highlights, would you say?
Wow, that's a hard So there's probably 2. One is that when I was younger, I didn't do any travel. I went straight from school to university to being a mum, and I absolutely loved the early years being home with my kids. It's the most special time of my life. And what Blossom and Berry has given me the opportunity to do is, you know, set up a global business. So I have travelled across the world, empowering mainly women to set up their own businesses, teaching baby massage and yoga. So to have all of those amazing experiences and to connect with, I have over 1,000 teachers now across the world, all sharing the same vision. That is huge for me, and I'm incredibly grateful to each and every one of them that have invested time and energy and money into their training with me. And the second one would have to be my project in Malawi. So when I was 40, I decided I wanted to give back, and I'd received so much from teaching about touch and connection. And I knew that all the evidence was that if babies don't receive touch and connection, particularly in the first 1,001 days of life, as I said, it really restricts their potential. So I tried to find an orphanage somewhere in the world where I could go and train the staff how to use nurturing touch, eye contact, talking to babies, singing to babies, to help to create this nurturing environment. And luckily, I found my charity, which is now my charity now, Love Support Unite, who gave me that shot. And I flew to Malawi, set up my training first in an orphanage, and then on subsequent trips, I now have community projects in about 5 centres across Malawi, and we see about 750 women every year, and we teach safe motherhood, infant massage, menstrual health training, hand hygiene. So that is something that I could only ever have dreamed that I could ever do. And, you know, that's probably another podcast just on its own, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know. And you've just come back from Malawi as well. And just what you said there, you know, impacting 750 women, and then the impact that has of who those women are coming into connection with, is that impact is massive.
Yeah, and one really interesting thing that's happened as a result of the programme is that I initially went there to, obviously, with the intention to teach about love, to teach about connection, infant mental health. But what actually happened, which is really interesting in terms of female empowerment, is that the women who came on the course, the mothers, they had never been educated. Their mothers had never been educated. Their grandmothers had never been educated. This was the first point ever that they were seen and were in a learning environment. At the end of the course, they received received a certificate. They were so proud of themselves that they actually then enrolled onto adult literacy, which previously as a charity, we couldn't get the women to enroll on adult literacy because the jump from no education to adult literacy was too huge. And I'm very happy to say that we now have our very first female entrepreneur who's come out of the adult literacy, who's actually set up her own business rearing pigs, and she's now setting up a pig cooperative. So from baby massage, because when I say baby massage, a lot of people roll their eyes and they're like, yeah, what is that? But from something as simple as touch and connection, we now have women being empowered in Malawi. So
yeah, which is incredible, is that you living your purpose and following your heart, and what grows from that is incredible. Yeah, incredible. I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing. What has been some of your toughest moments? Have you ever had moments of like just wanting to throw the towel in?
Funnily enough, I haven't. And I know that sounds really rubbish because everyone likes a good sad story.
Bit of drama.
I can honestly say, I truly believe this is what I'm here to do, and I've never doubted myself. It is as much my work is as much of me as I am myself. We are the same. I've had a few tough emotional moments. When my husband was 39, he had a stroke, which really impacted us and the family, and really gave me a 360 on how fragile life is, that you can be fine one moment and then obviously have brain damage as a result of a stroke at that age. So I've had personal challenges like that, but I've never really given up on that vision that I've had of myself. I just keep showing up. that really strong vision, it sounds has been such a focus point for you. It's really powerful. So what would your advice be for women who are also, wanting to start businesses that are maybe different from their backgrounds, in terms of, having your business very driven by love and emotion, and, what would your advice be to them? Don't start a business unless you're genuinely excited about it. When you think about what your message, what you want to share, if it doesn't excite you, it's going to be difficult, because I believe that excitement about a subject creates energy, and then energy then creates action. And so I think whatever your business is, you're going to be living and breathing this every single day. There's no white knights coming to save you. There's no crystal balls to tell you what to do. So I think as long as you have that, you are your business, you are the energy in your business. So as long as you believe in yourself and your vision is strong enough for the world, I believe that's all you need. And then once you have that vision and that energy, then it's literally about just doing the work. And the advice I would give to anyone on that is, consistent and persistent. You just got to show up and do your best work you can every day, and that's enough. That will always be enough, really. And also have fun.
Totally.
Because if it isn't fun and it isn't exciting, and you don't have those air punchy moments or spontaneous giggles, then I would question, whether you should do it.
So that excitement and that passion bringing you forward, and having fun in the process. Do you think, I've been talking recently a lot about, I grew up with parents who were business owners, they had a shop, that now anyone with social media, etc., can start a business in inverted commas, or have a shop front window for a business, but there's not really underneath it. Do you think that's a problem of people not having to really commit or really fully understanding what it actually takes to move a business forward?
That's a good question. I think it's the greatest gift. I've built my business, like I said, from my front room to now I have a 6-figure business. I just had a 2-week £50,000 launch. I have consistent five-figure months. Based on the internet, I have just online courses, and so I'm forever grateful for technology, and I'm always really interested in keeping up with technology. So I think it is just about recognizing that you can create a business from anything where you just know a little bit more than somebody else does. So you don't have to be an expert, you don't have to have all of the ducks in a row before you start. You just need to know that if people are asking you questions like, how do how did you do this? How did you do that? And you're excited about sharing that and empowering people with that knowledge. That actually can be enough to just give it a go. And the other thing I would say is that you can start a business from your phone. You're talking about the such low startup courses for things like online training. So now being an entrepreneur and being creative and working in the business world is so much easier than, say, for your parents. As you said, you have to have a shop, premises, you've got rent, you've got overheads, you've got staff. You can now just have a laptop lifestyle on the beach doing your business. That's how I often find myself, and I have to say, I say a huge thank you for that at those times.
Yeah, definitely. And it goes back to that, you can do anything, but it needs that excitement and passion behind it. And it's, such an incredible opportunity that we all have now with tools at our fingers to, move things forward. Why do you think at the moment, in terms of, where there's lots of, stuff going on in the world at the moment, why do you think touch and connection is so important, particularly now?
We're living in a digital age where we can connect with hundreds of thousands of people, but at the same time feel quite lonely. And what it comes down to ultimately is that we are human, we are mammals, we are social creatures, and we are biologically designed to connect. And so that's why when we come together and we make eye contact, and when you hold someone's hand or even put your hand on someone's shoulder and say, "Are you okay?" that speaks to our biology on a level that other types of connection just doesn't. And so our body understands what touch is, and it activates the relaxation responses in our body through the production of feel-good hormones. So it is, it's absolutely fundamentally crucial to our emotional and social regulation and well-being. And I can't imagine a world, I don't want to live in a world for sure, where we aren't connecting in real life and touching and looking and sharing and communicating with each other, because I think that would be a really, really different place. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, no, definitely. It would be a really, really sad place to live in. So, we can connect with people more than ever, but we need to stay connected more than ever, for sure. So what is next for you, and what is next for Blossom and Berry?
Well, it's really exciting. So Blossom and Berry is expanding. So I have business partners in Australia, in Mexico, in Italy, in the Middle East, hoping to move into Africa. We're holding a summit in March or April next year called Nurturing the Future, 1001 Days to Save the World, which is going to showcase experts from around the world talking about why this window is absolutely critical to empower all humans to have the best possible life and reach their full potential. So that's for Blossom and Berry. And then for me, I'm now moving into mentorship. So I have my own mentorship coaching program called Love Legacy, which is all about empowering female creative entrepreneurs to shine more brightly, to achieve their goals, and to kind of scale their impact and income globally. So that's something new, and I've already got working with some amazing women. So that's really exciting as well.
Exciting stuff. And where can we find you online?
So at the moment, you can find me mainly through my Instagram, which is Gayle Love Creates Love. That's where you'll find my mentoring business. And then obviously blossomandberry.com is my website if you want to find out more about nurturing touch. And my charity is called Love Support Unite. And you can find us again by searching for us on Google for our website or on social media as well. So it'd be great if anyone's been inspired by this to connect.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your very inspiring story and very inspiring business. And it's been great to have you on She Rebel Radio.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for listening to She Rebel Radio, the podcast for high-performing women leaders who want to unlearn conventional rules, leave prestigious careers, and launch businesses of significance. She Rebel Radio is executive produced and hosted by women's advocate and coach Lulu Mins. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. You can find Lulu Mins on Facebook and LinkedIn at Lulu Mins, and on Instagram at LuluMins_biz. Until next week, keep rebelling against the rules and designing success your way.